Kick off your boots, lean in, let's talk. Real world wisdom for your everyday walk. This is PWC Truth Talk. Come on, straight shooting insight for the long haul. From the boardroom to your hometown block. Get it honest, get it clear on PWC Truth Talk.
Hello everyone, here's Steve and Chachi. We're here on Truth Talk today, and we're going to talk about love. You know, yeah, we got that love bug going on. Says, have you lost that love and feeling?
You lost that love and feeling. I don't got a good song. I mean, I don't got a good voice.
Anyway, I don't know what to talk about love, but we got to get into this story on love here. Of course,
that's right.
Yeah, and so we're at 5:34 right now. We want to do this for about a half hour, and we want everybody to listen up and see if we got anything good to say. And also, I want to mention, anybody ever wants to come on and be with Chachi and I on here, feel free to ask. We can send you the link, and you can join us anytime you want to join. So, Chachi, why don't you start off with prayer right now, and we'll get into this deep subject.
Yeah, so this week's subject is falling in love. After this chapter, we'll get into the love languages. And so this one is just talking about, that euphoric feeling we get when we fall in love. And I think we've all been there. And, when we first met our wife, or even when we were in high school and we had that puppy love and just all the emotions that come with it. Do you remember those times, Steve?
Oh man, it's it makes guys a little stupid every now and then.
But it makes the girl stupid too.
Yeah, yeah, but I think in guys we don't know. And oh yeah, we remember that time, and it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling. Exactly, that's right.
Yeah, but we also know that is a feeling that can slowly erode.
Well, okay, it's good that you said that, slowly erode, because so in the book, they say that they've done these studies on it, and they found out that euphoric feeling, that in-love feeling, lasts about 2 years. After that 2 years, like the things you thought were so cute about her, or the things that she thought were so cute about you, become annoying. Yeah. They become like, this is not what I fell in love with, and that feeling, as it starts to go away, you start to think, did you fall out of love? Yeah. And the book is saying, which is true, and I think most of us understand it, though it takes time, is that you cannot truly love someone until that in love feeling has died.
Yeah, that's true. And I just looking at some of the notes here. It said, "Fall in love feels effortless." It said, when people first fall in love, everything feels easy. It's easy. You get along. If you make a mistake, it feels easy. It said, you think about that person all the time. You want to be near them. You overlook flaws. Woo. Okay. Right. And you believe this will never change. And that's,
exactly.
And so we wonder why love feels so easy at the beginning, but yeah. So that first love feeling is very effortless, and it's easy. You want to be around people. I want to be around my wife all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's typically the time she wants to be around you too. You both want to be around each other. And we all see it. We've all went through it, and it's so true how you kind of lose you kind of lose yourself. You kind of like, even the book was saying, like, intellectually, you're like, oh no, we'll get in fights, but we'll work it out. Like somehow you think you're always going to be the different one, the one that's actually going to be. And I think a lot of that comes from the movies. You watch the movies, They Live Happily Ever After, and you think like, we have in our mind that is what love is. And it also touched on it too, like if it said it in, I think, towards the end of the chapter too, like what, like you'll get this pushback from people. Well, if love doesn't feel like that, like, is it even worth it? Is it even any good? And honestly, I can tell you, I went through that too a lot of times. I think probably a couple of weeks ago when we first started. I said I remember for a while, probably going right after those 2 years and thinking like,
Mhm.
like why aren't we like staying with each other as much? And thinking if we don't like it this much, then maybe
Yeah.
we don't love each other. But it's
Yeah.
you got to
So,
like get over that.
what is kind of saying that love, feeling in love can blind us.
Yeah,
Okay, because we may ignore warning signs that we may assume love will fix everything. Okay,
right.
they may believe strong feelings mean they are deeply compatible.
Yeah.
Ooh, so it can't blind us.
Why do you think? So I have well. So here's what I think, because I think that's true, and I always try to look like the deep reason as to why. And I think part of it is like there is something in us that God put that we want to love, we want to belong, and it says that in the book. But I also believe that there's this part of us that it's kind of like the same thing happens even when we're kids, right? When you're kids, all the way there up, all the way to they're about like teenager, they think you're the great. They think the parents are the greatest. They want to be with you. They want to hang out. They think you're smart. And then they get into teenagers, and all of a sudden they don't like you anymore. They
Yeah,
don't
you're
like the
the
parents
dumbest guy in the
anymore.
block.
Yeah. And so then I think right from there it starts to think like they want that belonging again. They feel like my parents are these old fuddy duddies. They don't know, and they're looking
Yeah.
to feel that love again and to feel that
Okay.
belonging again, and then they kind of latch on to the opposite sex.
That's right. It says a note says is the Bible often teaches us to walk by wisdom, not by emotion. What do you think of that one?
Yes. So I think that is a good one. But I do believe this though. See, here's the thing. If we're gonna make those two like enemies of each other, meaning we're just gonna totally separate them out, then yeah, you're gonna want to choose wisdom over emotion. But I think the place we're getting to, and I think the where the book is gonna take us when we learn these love languages, that wisdom now, wisdom knows how to incorporate emotion. Rather, before emotion becomes the taskmaster and it makes you do everything. Now, wisdom says no, because we want emotion. We don't want to get rid of emotion. And learning the love languages helps us with those emotions to express them and to give them to our spouse. So it's not that we want to just be wise and have emotion. True wisdom means we do have emotion, but we're not led by emotion. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
right. Well, like we're saying that emotion can blind us. So as the Bible's trying to teach us that we got to use a little wisdom and try to determine if this is the right choice. Falling in love is not always a choice. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see, what's it saying here? One of the powerful ideas in this chapter is that falling in love often feels like something that happens to us. All right.
Mhm.
But mature love is different. I choose to love you. That's what mature love says. I choose to serve you. I choose to learn what makes you feel valued. Okay. So the first stage is emotional attraction. The next stage is intentional love.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. But there is, I guess what I would want to know is this though. I guess what I'm thinking about is, and I don't know how true it is, but part of me feels like, and the book doesn't really say so or not, because the book says that everyone feels this, and I think I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't say everyone, but I think that most people have to go through those first 2 years. I don't
Oh
think you
yeah.
can.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think you can fall in love with somebody with just wisdom. I think you almost need to get blinded first, and then wisdom comes.
Yeah. But
Does
yeah,
that make sense?
but yeah, that's true. But everybody's different, and I've seen people who got married and within 8 months they're getting the divorce.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally understand that. Listen.
Okay.
I know somebody that got divorced in 3 weeks.
Oh,
So
So they lost that love and feeling fast, huh?
Well, but that's, I guess, but what I'm trying to say though is like, and I don't want to say everyone because I know there's people that haven't, but like
Yeah.
that first emotion, that first in love, like
Yeah.
that's almost like that's
Uh-huh.
almost like the spark plug. That thing needs to happen,
Yeah. Yes.
right? But I'm sure there's people that is there people that got married that didn't even that got married without that emotion?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It always starts. It always starts with the attraction. You
But
know?
that's what I'm saying. So my
Yeah.
thing is, so here's what. So this is what I'm trying to say. Though what I'm trying to say is, yes, we need wisdom, but
Yeah.
we can't just like say, like for instance, let's just say. I guess what I'm trying to say is this: everything comes in its right time. It's almost like when you get anything you get new, you
Right.
kind of like it's you get a new car, you love that thing for about 2 weeks, then you're like, okay, it's just a car.
Yeah.
You get a
Yeah.
new pair of shoes, and you're like, I love my shoes. After a couple of days, you're like,
Yeah.
but I think a lot of times, and then as we get older, when we do get some wisdom into it, then we're excited for the shoe, we're excited for the car, but not nearly as much as before, right?
Okay.
I guess I'm just trying to say that like I don't want to take all like the credit away from that
Yeah.
that loving feeling that people get because I know my daughter is not dating anyone, but she's going to be 17, and this, of course, because someone's going to come into her life, and I know she's going to be excited, and so I wouldn't want her not to be excited. I wouldn't want her not to be in love. But I guess as you're saying, like we need to be able to like have that wisdom. But I think wisdom is something you have to gain. I don't know if it's something you can actually. Wisdom is
Well,
something you have to learn firsthand.
so what we're trying to establish right now is that the emotional high does not last forever.
Yes, that's
We
right.
have that. Uh,
Right.
we all
So
have.
yes, the emotional high doesn't last forever, but we are okay with the emotional high at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
We're not trying to get rid of the emotional high, is what I'm saying, right? Would you agree?
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, that's what happens in love. But again, we're trying to say that emotion can blind us.
Yes,
You
it can
know,
blind you. Yes,
yeah,
it can.
where you've been around. I know people that has where their children may got connected with somebody and they think they're in great love, but the parents can see the problem, you know, and
Right.
where we think, oh no, 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 I can't believe it. You can't talk to them about it to think things through of that emotion, and it is
But
very strong and powerful.
yes, okay. So I'm gonna tie this in too again. I want to tie this into to Christianity again too because
Okay.
I know so many people that when they first, like even myself, when I first came to the Lord, I became born again Christian. Like it was the same kind of feeling. It
Ah.
was the same kind of emotional high. And
Ooh.
people would look and people would be like, because when you first come to the Lord, when you become born again and you know you're saved, man, you're like you have a lot of zeal. You have a lot of like you want to tell everyone about God. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so these first things we come to, it's almost like we come with that high. But the same thing happens now with Christianity. After a couple of years, you come to see like, hold on a second, I'm not,
Right.
things got to be tampered down a bit.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Okay. Love does fade over time, but does that mean love is gone?
No, love is different.
Right. No, it's right. It means that relationship is moving into a different season.
Right. That's
So,
right.
so then it talks about then real love begins.
Exactly. That's what the book was saying. That in love, that emotional high has to end for real love to begin.
Right.
That's what the book says. The book says that real love, that real love, that in love has to die,
That real
because
love feeling,
people
what are you saying? That real love feeling.
that in love feeling has to die before real love starts.
That's right. Okay. All right, we got that. So here, noting here, that real love is not proven when everything feels easy. real love is proven when life gets normal. Bills, we get stressed, kids, man, that could challenge us.
Right.
Love every once in a while. We love our kids, but sometimes we like to give them back.
Yeah, right.
Sickness, disappointment, misunderstandings. That is real. That is where love becomes more than a romance. It becomes what? What do you say? Becomes a what?
Give
Commitment.
it to him. Yeah.
It is. It does. It becomes a commitment.
Right. No, it does. Yeah. I was just reading this quote from the book. It says, our most basic emotional need is not to fall in love, but to be genuinely loved by another, to know a love that grows out of reason and choice, not instinct.
Mhm.
I need to be loved by someone who chooses to love me, who sees in me something worth loving.
Yeah. That's
In
not
fact,
just
true
emotional love,
love,
right?
and then it says, in fact, true love cannot begin until the in love experience has run its course.
Okay.
Because yeah, you need to know that, like I said, like you need to know that someone's choosing you, and you need to know that this is the biggest thing with love. I said it last time too. I need to know that you love me, and my wife needs to know that I love her, and we all need to know that our spouse loves us at our worst, not just at our best.
Okay.
And so when you're in love, as we're saying, and we're blinded, you don't see anything. You're making excuses for everything. But it's when you finally are in love with someone, you can say, no matter even I love your good times, I love your good side and your bad side.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I mean, of course, especially when you get married, you got two different um, ways you're brought up. One might be brought up
Yes.
with this and very easy going. They allow things happen, and another might come up this way, and what you think is okay may not be okay to them. So now you get, this is where we have to work stuff together, and you have a commitment to learn about each other. Okay,
Right.
is the if that I don't know if that's making sense, but well, we'll
Yeah,
go.
I think what you're saying was when two people get married, you both come in from a different context, a different family dynamic. And so, like however, there's so many things in family dynamics. Maybe everyone ate at the same time at my house. At her house, they didn't. Maybe at my house, we always said prayers before. Maybe at her house, they didn't. Maybe, they always had dessert after. Who knows? There's so many things, the context you come out of, right? And
Huh?
at first, you're not even looking at those things because you're blind to them. You're blind to those things because of that in love feeling. But then once you start seeing them, you can start not liking them. I don't like that you guys always do that. I don't like that you do that at your parents' house. I don't want you to do that here. Whatever. There's things about each other that get on our nerves. But when we choose to love someone, when we choose that commitment, then we can actually sit down and say, okay, listen, I know your parents have a big dinner on Sundays. I don't want to go every Sunday. Can we go twice a month? I don't want to go, So then you can actually start being real with each other and showing that commitment and still
Right.
loving them and giving that effort.
So what we're saying, love is something that we learn, right?
Yes.
You know, of course, the only thing we and I didn't know this till I read the book, that there is a love language out there that people want. And here, we know how I feel loved, and we try to do that to my spouse. The same thing.
Right.
But she doesn't feel the love
Right.
because it's not what she needs.
Right. That's right.
Okay? So it is a learning. We have to learn
We have to learn.
to our spouse to see what makes them feel loved, right?
It's we have to learn to see what makes them feel love, but then we also have to learn how to give it.
Right.
You understand? Learning how to give that, I think, first of all, this is what I know. Learning what they want, I don't think is as hard. I think deep down, once we say what they know, we'll be like, oh, I knew you always like that. But then what it's always hard is actually learning and taking the effort to give that to them.
Okay. Yeah. like I said, when we first fall in love, you know, you make me happy, and we have that happy feeling. Okay, and then we and that's an emotional thing, and then we slowly start losing that, and we can we get into a danger of chasing that feeling?
Oh yeah, that's why I think a lot of people get divorced. I think a lot of people get divorced because they want to chase that feeling because they believe that feeling is love. Because even as we say, like you have to learn to love, there's something, and it's probably our culture that we feel like it feels like there's this idea that what do you mean you gotta learn to love?
Uh,
We just want to be loved, you know? We hear
we
that
want
learn to be loved, and when we hear you have to learn to love, there's something even in my brain that winces at it. Like, what do you mean we got to learn to love? Shouldn't we just love? But here's the fact of it. Here's the reality of this. As you said, there's your kids, and you love them. And some days you still you love them, but some days you don't like them, right?
yeah.
And that's just the truth. But I wonder if
Hmm?
part of that feeling of knowing like, oh, we got to learn to love. What bothers us
Yeah.
is that the truth is we shouldn't have to learn to love, you know, because I think the category where that belongs is this: God never had to learn to love us.
No.
You see,
We
but
got
we're not God. But we're not God.
yeah, we're not
But but
God. See.
but I think there's a beautiful thing to look at that to say, you know what, God doesn't need to learn to love us, and it's okay that I need to learn to love because I'm not God.
Yeah. Well, it's that's an 8 points. The danger of chasing the feeling. Some people spend their whole life chasing the high of falling in love. Okay, when the
Right.
excitement fades, they assume love is over. They don't feel that
Exactly.
high. Okay, they look for what feeling somewhere, or look for that feeling somewhere else.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's the danger of that emotional type of love. Okay.
Right.
But if they keep chasing that feeling, they may never experience the deeper kind of love that comes through commitment, patience, forgiveness, and understanding.
Right.
Okay, if you keep chasing the spark, you may miss the fire that comes from building a life together. Strong statement.
It is, but it's true. It's true. It's
Uh,
very true.
okay, what doesn't
And
belong?
so,
What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Okay, next point is coming up that love requires humility. Humility. Okay, okay. I love someone in their love language. No, to love someone in their love language, we have to admit my way may not be the only way. Okay, that feeling, that feels. Oh, what feels loving to me may not be loving to them. I need to listen, learn, and adjust. That takes humility. What do you think?
Of course, that's what I was saying before. Where I was saying like
Hmm?
learning how to love somebody. We would. That's what I'm trying to say. If I sat you down, or you sat me down, or we sat you down, and said, I mean, I think probably 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 people would know what their wife appreciates, and then you would say, well, why don't you do it more then? Because there's something in you that says like, and I think most people when they hear the love language book, I think most people, at least me, I'll tell you right now, when you hear a love language, it's more so like, yeah, I want to know my love language so I can get my love. I don't really think about it. Wow, this is cool. I want to know love language so I can love the other person.
Uh-huh. Right.
Because we're innately, because we're broken, we're selfish. It's almost like, have you took any personality test?
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dangerous one.
Have you ever took any no personality test? Have you ever took
Yeah,
one?
yeah. I'm
You know,
a
like
because
what are you?
they got colored person. They have them colors like red, yellows, blues, and greens.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
whatever your personality is, whether it's the Myers-Briggs personality test or if it's an enneagram, most people, what do you want to read? You want to read about your own personality. You don't want to read about anybody else's. So
yeah.
when you hear 5 love languages, you're like, oh yeah, great. I want to know my love language so I can say, hey, my love language is affirmation. So come on, everybody, give me the affirmation.
That's
But we
right.
should be reading it to say, what is her love language?
Uh-huh.
You see, it's not about really knowing our own love language. It's about knowing their love language. And then the deeper thing is not knowing their, again, I say it again because I think, because I want to guard against our selfishness. We want to know their love language,
Right.
not so we can manipulate to get what we want.
No.
We want to know the love language so they can know that they are being loved by us.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting about the five love languages. See, that's what the book talks about. See, it talks about to understand your spouse, and you have a love language too that you could share, you know.
Right.
And I found out what my wife's love language because she keep asking me, "What's my love language?" And I said, "Well,
Yeah.
it's touchy feely and quality time." You know, yeah, you're right.
Right.
And then what's my love language? You know, and I'm a touchy feely guy, and I like affirmation.
Right.
And I could, I remember when I would when you first come to church, and you was you come up and say, "Well, what do you think of the sermon?" And I thought right then, I know Chachi's love language is affirmation.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
That's one of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
but it's something you need to share together.
but here's what I'm saying though. Check this out though. Let's just say we get like 5 people or in a family. Just get in a
Yeah.
family, you family, and we're like, everyone says, I'm like, all right, everyone to tell me what your favorite food is. One kid's like spaghetti, it's like pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers. And I'm like, steak. And then it's like, okay, you know what we're gonna have? We're gonna have my favorite. You see, everyone
Yeah.
wants to tell you what their favorite is because they're hoping that you'll give me your favorite. And so what I'm trying to say, same thing here, like we have to be mindful to read this love languages, not to know our own love language, more so to know the other person's love language. You understand that?
Okay, right.
If I want to talk about most people are like this. Let's talk about favorite foods. So I can tell you what my favorite food is, and maybe tomorrow you'll take me to lunch for my favorite food. What we should be saying is, let's talk about favorite foods so I could take Steve tomorrow to his favorite spot for lunch.
Huh?
You get it?
Yeah. I mean,
We talk.
it's just like you say, your kids one maybe like hamburgers, the other one wants pizza, and the other one likes hot dogs, stuff. Okay, you can't do it all at that time, but you could say, hey, tomorrow we're going to do what Susie's favorite is. And
Yes, but what I'm saying is this though. I don't know. Maybe I'm belaboring the point. But what I'm saying is this: in that house, with everyone sharing their favorite food, nobody's sharing their favorite food to listen. They're sharing to say, "Here's what mine is."
that's right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we need to know stuff like that, though, don't we?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is we need to know. But are we listening to know, or are we
Right.
are we
Yeah,
sharing to
right.
tell you?
Yeah.
If I say right now, hey, Steve, what's your favorite food? You're like, you're going to be excited to let me know hamburgers. But if I don't listen to give you hamburgers, I'm just waiting to give you my
Yeah.
turn because I hope you're going to get pizza. You're defeating the point. You're being selfish again.
But Chachi, I guess that I got in trouble with Annette. And I said, what's going on? She says, you know me, you know what you did. And I
Right.
hated that. I had
Right.
no clue. I could do something right one day, then the next day it's completely wrong.
Yes. This is
but
true.
but we have to communicate. That's part of the communication.
Yeah, yeah.
We
I'm
need,
not saying not to communicate. All I'm
yeah,
trying to say is we have to
yeah.
communicate more to listen than to be heard.
But see, I didn't. But you see, I didn't understand that till I read the book.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to look for till I read. Because sometimes we have to teach her. We have to be learning constantly. When I
This is
read the
true.
book, I understood what she needed.
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
and you're right, and that takes listening and observing. You know,
Right.
and
Yeah,
but
it takes
yeah,
paying
very, very
attention, being
good.
curious.
Yeah, let's see. And see where we're at here. Okay, we got a little bit of time left. It says, here's the one. Five love languages help couples reconnect. Once the emotional high fades, couples need tools. Okay, the love language gives couples a way to understand each other better. All right, they help
Right.
answer questions like, What makes you feel cared for? What makes you feel ignored? What do I do that fills your emotional tank? And what do I do that drains it? Okay. But when we don't understand that, we just plod along. And we hope we hit it right. You know what I mean? We hope we get it right.
I think you're right. I think there's some of us that hope we get it right. But I also think, we need to get it right. All I'm saying is this. There's usually maybe this like this in every relation. Maybe in one relationship, there's one person that seems to give more than the other,
Right.
right? And the
Uh-huh.
person that wants to give more is probably looking to like, what's your love language? What's your love language so I can give it to you? And
Uh-huh.
I think there's another person that's always trying to say, here's my love language. I want you to give me this. But what has to happen now is probably the giver has to switch spots and be a little bit more of the receiver. And the person that's always receiving has to be a little bit more of the giver. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. And you just, see,
I'm just saying, I guess I'm just saying when we read the book,
but
I was coming back to is we have to like,
yeah.
we have to be willing to know the love language so we can actually give them love to make them feel loved.
But maybe she's coming up and she's giving this, she's doing this for you and doing these sort of things. But from that, maybe you could recognize what she needs.
Right. This is true.
See that, that's us paying attention.
Right.
And we guys, we get caught up. We have to work. We think, okay, I'm going out I'm making the money in the house. When I come home, I'm tired. I don't want to do anything. And you just don't feel that emotional outpouring that she may need when you come home. And so we let things get in the way of really trying to understand what the other person is because maybe our fatigue. That could be some of it, but we need to, if they approach you, your wife approach you in a certain way, that might be something to give you a clue.
Right. Right.
Okay.
This is right. Yep. Very good.
Okay. So so we want to get in. See, we're right here at the end of our time. So we really want to get into these 5 love languages so we can understand what it may take to reconnect with your wife, and what I call it putting money in the bank. And I had to put a lot of money in the bank because, man, I had to cash out a few. When I made that stupid mistake, at least I had some at least I had some change left over, and they didn't quite get as beat up as much.
Right, for sure.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you. I understand completely.
We gotta fill that tank.
Yeah, fill that tank. No, it's good. Yeah, so next week we'll be able to start getting into the first love language.
Yeah, and that is going to be which one? Is that?
I don't know. I didn't read that far.
I think the first one is it touch. Is that touch? I don't know. I can't remember. I don't have the book in here. I'm just going. See,
the first one is words of affirmation.
Oh, is that what's first one? Words of affirmation.
Love language number 1, words of affirmation.
Okay. Well, we'll learn about that next week when we get here on Truth Talk. So let's close out in prayer. Father, we just thank you for this time that we could talk together about probably one of your most favorite things about love, Father, because you are love, and you loved us so much that you gave your only son, to die for us, that give us a way that we can connect back with you. And Father, that's great love. That's great love. So sometimes we don't understand. We just need your guidance, and Father. And through this book that's written by Gary Smalley, it's been a good one. And when I've read it, it was a good lesson I learned. So we just invite people to get the book, and Father, maybe they can read along and they can learn. Like you can get the so we can learn the 5 love languages. So Father, we just ask you bless it upon Chachi, bless his family and everyone who's listened. And we just ask this in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
Get the 5 love language if you want on Amazon. They have it there. There might be, if you look and search, there might be some PDF versions you could probably download for free. I don't know where, but if you do a search, you might be able to find that PDF version. So you guys can go ahead and just start reading. So we're going to be doing the first love language, and what Chachi's said, because I don't know exactly which order they're in, is the affirmation.
Thanks for riding with Chachi, rolling out with Steve today. PWC Truth Talk family, you made our day. Thanks for joining Truth Talk. Thanks for sharing your time. Chachi and Steve say keep it real. See you next time on the line.